Good morning, Emmanuel and friends of Emmanuel. My name's Rachel, and today we are in Acts chapter 27, verses 1 to 20, and we're coming to the end of the book of Acts. Today's passage is a description of Paul's journey setting out from Caesarea and headed towards Rome. So I thought rather than trying to describe it to you, I would show you. So I've drawn you a little map. It's not to scale and the boats are not scaled, but hopefully it will help you to see what it is that we're reading. Okay, here's my little map of the Mediterranean Sea. And you can see here Caesarea, which is where Paul has been on trial, and he's appealed to Caesar. So even though this court has found nothing that he's guilty of, he's appealed to Caesar, and so they're going to take him to Italy. They put him under the guard of a man named Julius, and he sits there with Julius and with Luke. So we know Luke's there because the book of Acts is written by him, and he writes it in the first person, so he says we. And they have another companion, and they set sail in a small boat. So this is not an ocean crossing boat, but one that's going to take them up the coast to a smaller port. So they get a lift up to Sidon, which is the next city up here, where they change boats, and they get on another boat, and the boat travels up, hugging along the coast. So a lot around Cyprus, around the north of Cyprus, which is going to protect it from the winds, and then hugging along the coast of Cilicia and Pamphylia to a port named Myra. This is where Myra is, on the south coast of modern day Turkey. And here they managed to get on a bigger ship. It's a cargo ship from Alexandria, and it's headed to Italy. But already the wind is being unfavourable, and if you're in a sailing boat, the wind's kind of important because that's your means of power, and so they have a bit of trouble getting around the island of Cnidus, and they head south towards Crete. This is the island of Crete in the middle of the Mediterranean, and they go along the south edge of Crete and dock at a place called Fair Havens. We're not exactly sure where Fair Havens is today, but it's somewhere around the south coast of Crete. Now, the experts on board, the captain and the ship's owner, and the majority of the crew want to keep going along the coast of Crete towards a place called Phoenix, where they can spend the winter. But Paul doesn't like this idea. He perceives that this is a bad idea. It's late in the year, so we know that the Day of Atonement has passed, and Yom Kippur is usually celebrated in September, October, so it's getting into autumn, and the Mediterranean is a very dangerous, stormy place. Even nowadays, people die. Refugees have died this year trying to cross the Mediterranean in the wintertime because it is so stormy and so treacherous. But anyway, Julius decides to listen to the experts and the majority, and he doesn't listen to Paul's godly wisdom, and so they set off, go under the island of Cauda, and here they get stuck in this huge tempestuous northeaster storm, so their little boats being tossed around, and we leave them in the dark. So it says in verse 20 that there's no sun and no stars, which would have been their means of navigation, and they abandon all hopes. They're literally throwing their hopes overboard, throwing their cargo, which is their means for wealth, throwing their ship's tackle, which is their means for control. They have no navigation. They are utterly lost and in despair. And that's a lovely place to leave it. Okay, so just one little piece of encouragement, rather than leaving you abandoned and hopeless in the middle of a storm. Just wanted to encourage us this morning that God is sovereign over their journey. He's in control. So Julius and the ship's captain and the ship's owner, they have a plan of where they want to head. But God is sovereign. He's the one that controls the wind and the waves with his voice. He's the one that directs our steps. Proverbs 16 verse 9 says, "The heart of a man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps." James 4 verse 15 says, "Instead we ought to say, if the Lord wills, we will live and do this or that." Hebrews 6 verse 3, "And this we will do if the Lord permits." And I just wanted to encourage us this morning that God is sovereign over our journeys too. He is the one that is in control. We can't even predict the weather, but he is sovereign over it all, sovereign over it, and he is our only hope. Other hopes will fail us. Other hopes we can throw overboard, but we cling to Jesus, our only hope, and know that God has a plan for our lives. So when you face storms or opposition, or when it feels like the wind is blowing in your face and frustrating you, know that God is in control and he is working this out for your good. I hope you have a great day.